me at the corner of Russell and Albina, just about a block from Mississippi Avenue. I'll take you to a house where they hang carpets on the wall.
We're live. I accidentally pressed the X button on the opening.
All right. Well, welcome everybody, and welcome to Open Mic America. I'm Chris Steele. I'm your MC for tonight. Mike Simpson is our interviewer, and Capo Dave Williams is our engineer and also the founder of this wonderful show and the creator and builder of Dandy Hybrid Guitars, which you'll hear about a little bit later on. Our mission is to support your local open mics where you can go in person to see songwriters performing their original music. And tonight, thanks to technology, we get to travel all around the country and see those same performers in their own living rooms. So without gimmicks or frills, this is the DNA of American music, the tapestry of story and song that has been weaving us together for generations. So let's go ahead and introduce our performers. We've got Buddy Shute from Kingston, Arkansas. We've got Norm Bowen from Alameda, California. Waddle and Daub coming in from Grayslake, Illinois. Andy Karn from Mountain View, California. Gren Merschel from Monroe, North Carolina. John Gary from Stowe, Ohio. Tom Maynard from Thompson, Connecticut. Ric Page from Haverhill, Massachusetts. And Rebecca Parks from Hayward, California. So you can go ahead and find links to their work on our website and on this YouTube video. And now we're going to go ahead and jump in and actually get to listen to some of their music directly, as well as to talk to them a little bit about how they go ahead and make their art. We're going to go ahead and start with Buddy Shute. Buddy, you are on, sir.
All right. This first tune is for my sister, Pat. I wrote a tune. She was living in California there, the other side of Yosemite, and I took a trip out. And her stage name is Patty Melonsong, which is the name of this tune, Patty Melonsong. Snow on a mountain, time on a side, Patty Melonsong is singing tonight. Friends have all gathered and wait anxiously, for they know Wilma's Flying Pig Saloon is the place to be. Oh. With snow on a mountain and time on her side, Patty Melonsong is singing tonight. It's taken a long time, but now things are right. For Patty Melonsong will sing her debut tonight. Just like her mother, she will not say die. She look a hurricane, right the eye. Down go the house lights as the music begins. For Patty Mellon's song this night will never end. Oh, down in the valley, money grows on a vine. There's the world's largest nugget and bottles of wine. Somebody's fortune worth millions, I'm told. But Patty, what you've got is worth a lot more than that big piece of gold. Oh, oh.
Yeah, good stuff.
Nicely done, buddy.
What a great song.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
True story. Okay, the next tune here is called Once Upon a Time. I live in northwest Arkansas, which is part of the Ozarks, and it's when there was the big rush for the West in the 1800s, it was a lot easier to go around the Ozarks than it was to pass through them. So it's all really undeveloped, and in the 60s and 70s there was a lot of back to the landers, and this song is about a couple of friends of mine who moved near the county seat here in Madison County, Huntsville. At the time, it was about 1,000 folks for the and about 8 years ago, the state of Arkansas put in a bypass that went right through their property. So, once upon a time. Once upon a time, there was an old house on a peaceful gravel road, just what we were looking for. And there were cows in the pasture and tall trees on the hill. We had the world at our back door. But now the Walmart has opened and the highway is running along our property line. This was our paradise once upon a time. We could watch the deer from our front porch, watch them eat everything in sight. There was the endless song of the whippoorwill, and the stars would fill the night. But now the arches are golden, and the bank has a drive-through, and the lights in the parking lot shine. This was our paradise. Once upon a time. We moved in with a candle and a bottle of wine. We slept that first night on the floor. We've got to decide, do we sell or do we stay? And the money doesn't mean that much anymore. It all can change in a heartbeat. And right there before you are the things that make life worthwhile. Like when I walk through that door and you give me one of those smiles. Oh, if I could go back, I wouldn't change one damn thing. We have each other, and that's all that matters. And we'll live here in our paradise, happily ever after.
That was beautiful, buddy. That was absolutely beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing those songs with us. I'm going to hand you over to Mike now, and he's going to ask you a couple of questions, get a little bit behind some of the stories.
All right, buddy. Thank you for those great songs, as they said. I want to start off by noting that from word one of the first song all the way through, you're very adept at bringing the images, what you're seeing inside your head. You bring them forward and we can see them too, and I really appreciate that. What's your process for getting that which you have seen and what you remember into the music and the lyric? How do you do that?
Oh, I usually start writing a song with the music first, and a lot of times I'll have the theme in mind. Like I wanted to write a song about going to visit my sister, and I just took mental notes of the things that happened that I remembered about the trip. You know, her home site and an evening of music and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Was the second song hard to write emotionally?
No, it was very easy. I feel very close to the folks that the song was about, and I felt it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of nature in there. Given where you live, I'm somewhat familiar since I have Arkansas people. You know, with it's a gorgeous area. You know, that I know people who still have a considerable, shall we say, rancor for the state's highway policies. Even up in around my folks, which are north of Little Rock. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So.
these friends I wrote a song about, they were were originally from California. They were they they were the original hippies, and they moved out here to get away from everything, and it was just kind of ironic the way it turned out.
Yes. Ironic and not in a good, funny way. Yeah.
Yeah, but it does happen to a lot of people.
And so, do you play out a lot, buddy?
I have been, yeah. I've got a band I play with, and I have a good friend that plays harmonica. We do a duo and play out.
All right. Well, thank you so much for bringing your music to us. It was great stuff. We're glad to have you, and thanks for opening the show.
Oh yeah, well I thank you very much for allowing us to get to share.
All right, so I'm going to hand you back over to our host.
And thank you very much, Mike, and thank you again, buddy.
Yep.
We're going to go now, flip across the country here. We're going to go over to Norm Bowen in Alameda, California. And Norm plays at the local open mics at the Fireside Lounge in Alameda and Front Porch in Lafayette, California. Norm, take it away.
Thank you, Chris. First song I'd like to do for you is from my CD, which is called The Lupins and the Poppies. And you can listen to it at my website, which you can find if you just Google it, or I'm also on streaming services. This song is loosely based on a true story from 16th century France, as depicted in the film The Return of Martin Guerre, which you may remember from a few decades ago. It's a mostly true story, my version, mostly true story, about a man who shows up in a village impersonating a villager and successfully carries out this charade, living with the wife for 3 years before it's all uncovered. My song is called Martin Short. He first appeared in winter, his clothes no more than rags, his spare and few belongings carried in a pair of bags. He said that he was Martin Short, 10 years gone off to fight. The town cried out in wonderment at this unlikely sight. Some said to them there was no doubt he had called to them by name and mentioned childhood memories and even secret games. But others could not fathom how a short had grown so tall, or how the village shirker could now work to beat them all. Many more were doubters, the suspicions did abound. The war had ended years ago, now suddenly he was found. More than one had coveted the winsome widowed bride, and hoped to add her acreage to his own green pasture side. One evening in the wedding bed she said, "You are not he. I knew it from the moment that I set my eyes on thee. You labor with much purpose in all the work you do, and unlike him you have stood by me and proven to be true. Be sure I won't reveal or denounce you come what may. I have gained for you affection when in your arms I lay, but I fear the coming trial and the evidence they claim. If you are rendered guilty, I have no doubt you will be slain." Martin answered slowly, for he knew what was in store. "I met your rightful husband when we were off at war. I envied him the stories of his village and his life. When he said he never would return, I vowed to take his wife." The investigating magistrate tried Martin to ensnare, and called on all the village to shed light on this affair. His wife, she did defend him, and swore he was her man. He was undone by a birthmark that was missing from his hand. The sentence was delivered with a minimum delay. He was hanged before the village and left there on display for her desperate ploy to find a taste of happiness. She was locked into a convent for the good Lord now to bless. Thus ends the sorry story of the impostor Martin Short, and of his willing partner with whom he did consort. They did no one any harm, instead found plenitude, but the law could not abide their love and their breach of rectitude.
Norm, that was wonderful. That was beautiful.
Great. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very nice, Norm.
Okay, going to change gears and better check the tuning because I'm taking the capo off. Okay. So this is a fairly new song, not a history song. It came to me on the basis I read something about a rock and roll photographer named Henry Dietz, who said all the subjects that had made he himself famous as a photographer were all passing on. But he said he hoped that they were sitting in at the party on the other side. Sounded like a song title to me, and here's the one I wrote. It's called The Party on the Other Side. One more idol fallen, one more voice has been snuffed out. It always gave me comfort to think that he was still about. Though he won't be here to charm us or to serve us as a guide, he made it in and he's sitting in at the party on the other side. I know that you know all their names now just as well as I. No need to call them out lest we forget one walking by. Some left awfully early, some left real late. Some are out there hanging on, challenging their fate. Oh, the party on the other side, the party on the other side. We'll sing and dance and jam forever at the party on the other side. Mostly they stopped touring months or years ago, but only the rich and famous can afford to miss a show. Others only soldier on now, hitching for a ride, waiting for the good Lord to call them to the other side. There's no one left to jam with, the band has all dispersed. When I get a phone call, I'm bracing for the worst. My voice has gotten ragged and I'm singing out of key. Arthritis racks my fingers, I'd like to be set free. Oh, the party on the other side, the party on the other side. We'll sing and dance and jam forever at the party on the other side. They say that on the other side we all have perfect pitch. fingers find their nimbleness, we record without a hitch. So what am I still doing here after all the things I've tried? With just a bit of luck, I could be jamming on the other side. So get your house in order for your numbers coming up. Be sure that you are ready when they fill the loving cup. I'd be ready to myself, I would willingly decide. If you could only promise me there's a party on the other side. Oh, the party on the other side. The party on the other side. We'll sing and dance and jam forever at the party on the other side.
Norm, that's excellent. Excellent. All right, well, thank you so much for those songs. I'm going to hand you over to Mike. We're going to get into it a little bit here.
Norm Bowen, always good to hear you play. I have to say, tonight, maybe more than the several times before I've heard you, I was struck by the fact that you are generally and genuinely holding on to the folk tradition for us. You're generating new folk songs to go with the old ones that you know, and I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed. You have it down.
Well, thank you. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I see myself in the folk tradition. Sometimes I get out of it a little bit, but still, it's a great tradition. It's a tradition of narrative, of history, and of course, emotion and faith often, and historical rebellion.
Yeah, and I was thinking that it was very interesting that you have the song called Martin Short, because there's a modern guy named Martin Short who's been impersonating a comedian for many years.
The original one, and there was a film about it called The Return of Martin Guerre, a great French film. There was a lousy American remake of it, but I couldn't resist. I changed it because I changed some of the details, some of them inadvertently, from the movie version, the movie that I saw. And I couldn't resist adding it. I could put in the joke about him being too short relative, which wouldn't have been in the original. And so I just jumped on the occasion of calling him Martin Short.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing that struck me right away was you definitely are a researcher. You definitely, you dig into various areas to mine out the stuff. Were you an academic ever?
Good guess. Yes, I've switched my academic research to doing historical research or family research. I have an enormous amount of family letters and pictures, and I'm doing a song cycle about my family as well. So yes, I absolutely. My album has 6 racial justice songs about racism in California on it. Several of them others are also historical, like this one, Martin Short, which is on the CD. And yes, I did research. I do research for all of them to try to make it as accurate as I would like it to be. Although I do fudge sometimes, like I did on Martin Short. The woman got off scot-free, by the way, because she agreed to go back with her husband, who at the end of the trial showed up suddenly and blew the whole thing wide open.
That would do it, wouldn't it? Yeah, I appreciate that kind of research being done for songs. It's something I aspire to, even if I don't do it that much. Lovely work. What were you playing? What guitar were you playing there on that?
Oh, this one. This is a Yamaha.
A Yamaha, yeah, nice sounding instrument. It
Yeah,
works
no, it's
very
it's
well.
it was my first guitar. I got it in 1968 in Berkeley.
All right. Well, your voice have entwined very nicely.
Well, thanks very much.
Yeah. All right, Norman. Thank you once again. I hope we'll see you again soon. And I'm gonna get you back over to Chris.
And Norman, Yamaha fans unite. I'm going to go ahead and bring it over to Tim and Susan here now, otherwise known as Waddle and Daub. They host the monthly open stage for the Lake County Folk Club in Illinois. And they also regularly attend the weekly Off Square Music online open stage in Woodstock, Illinois, and they also attend an open mic in Burlington, Wisconsin. So, Waddle and Daub, please take it away.
There, can you hear us now?
Yeah, there we go. All right.
I really enjoyed that story so much, Norm. That song was
Kind of gruesome when they sent her to the nunnery. You know?
fascinating, very fascinating. I'm gonna have to do some research on that one myself.
Yeah. First song we're going to do is about my mom and dad, who could cut the proverbial rug, so to speak. My father's name was Buck. He loved his darling Pearl. Ever since the first time he took her for a twirl on the dance floor. Whenever music played, he would take her by the hand, hold each other close, and listen to the band on the dance floor. I would watch and wonder while I sat and stared. She was Ginger Rogers, he her Fred Astaire on the dance floor. When they did a two-step, man, they really moved. When they danced the polka, there was nothing left to prove. When they did a waltz and moved together slow, he led, she followed, the way only lovers could know. My father's name was Buck. He loved his darling Pearl. Ever since the first time he took her for a twirl on the dance floor. On the dance floor. On the dance floor.
Very, very, very nice.
Sweet,
That was lovely.
isn't it? That's one of my favorite things he wrote.
Well, thank you, honey.
Yeah.
This is that one's on our third CD.
By the way, there's on our YouTube page, there is a video that goes along with that, and you can actually see Buck and Pearl dancing on it if you care to. They're pretty cute.
That one's on our third CD, and this one we just uploaded it. It should be released by February 21st. We just finished recording it. It's a new one by Susan. You know, I was thinking this is a much better way to spend the evening than watching the Grammys.
Okay. Well, I don't know. It's nice being here.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, I wrote this song on November 8th, last November 8th, if that clues you in at all to what might be coming up.
Yeah.
It's been raining now for some time. The skies have been so gray. can hear the thunder rumbling many miles away.
This old house has weathered 100 storms before.
There were times when things around this place looked like a goddamn war.
Should have fixed a few things up. The money wasn't there.
And if you think there is a God, then maybe say a prayer.
Now it's here, it's looking bad. The devil's coming through.
And all those worries that we had, I think they'll all come true. 'Cause the ones that could have held it shut simply weren't around. And the winds of 1933 just blew the front door down.
Wow.
Just beautiful.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Tim and Susan, thank you so much for that. I'm going to hand you over to Mike here. We've got some live TV stuff that we're doing here at the same time behind the scenes. So I'm going to hand you over to Mike, and then I'm going to see what my chat is telling me.
Okay. You guys are always great. You're always
thank you.
great, and we could talk endlessly in probably very high levels of agreement about the content of the second song. But to anybody who doesn't already get it, I don't think we need to. Tell me about the writing of the first one.
Well, as I said, it's about my mom and dad. I love. We have a joke with Susan. She's never been to a Polish wedding to once, and she never wants to go to another one.
I just won't drink as much on the
Right.
next one.
Yes.
And when I grew up, I loved to watch my mom and dad at weddings. They just were just perfect. You could tell they were two people madly and passionately in love for the 50 years that they were married. And from the day I first saw them dance, I knew that was love. And no matter what the dance was, Dad could lead her around that dance floor like nobody else.
Yep. Lead and follow. Follow and
Yep.
lead.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got a good couple, a lot of times the so-called follow is the one who's leading.
Exactly.
I know a lot of marriages like that too. So the content of the second one I'm not going to talk about, but we have here people who play out.
Mm-hmm.
We have people here who songwrite.
Mm-hmm.
we have people here who have social media presences. And what I want to say is, how do you choose where and when to play that song?
That's a
Both,
really good question.
That is a
both
really
for
good
both
question.
for issues, both for issues of appropriateness to the audience. That's all well and good, but your own personal safety.
Well, that's a good question. We feel like I feel like Woody Guthrie said that folk music should comfort the
Disturbed and
disturbed and disturb
the comfortable.
the comfortable. Yeah.
Right.
And
Yes.
so that's what I'm trying to do, but I try to put those really strong feelings in metaphor. And I feel like the people who get it.
Right.
And the people who, the other people think it's a song about a storm coming.
Yeah.
And they maybe don't get it. But as far as we're pretty good at reading a room, I guess, and depending on, where we're playing, we sort of
Right.
know our audiences. If
Right.
I was playing that, say, in
Southern
between where we are and the next biggest urban center,
Right.
we probably wouldn't play that one. We
Right.
would
Yeah.
stick to lighter things,
I
but
have I have other friends who know this story and talk about the Stevie Coyle lesson. If you know Stevie Coyle, he's a fabulous fingerstyle guitarist, folky and rocker, and he talks about the time he was in south of Tampa Bay, Florida, when he made the mistake of pulling out a Plastic Jesus as one of his songs that he performed that night, and it's. He talks about the haste of his departure.
Well, you mentioned sometimes you read an audience and sometimes you don't. We mentioned the coffee house in Burlington, and one night I don't remember the song we sang. But
I do.
No, the one with Bruce.
I
We-
think it was Sandlot Boys. It was another one that I wrote
Yeah.
during the 2016 election.
Right, and we go out. We're loading up the car after the open mic.
Guy comes out, he's got an army hat on with guns on it,
Right, he says,
and his
he's
old
a
guy, he's got
Air
this
Force-
very stern expression on his face.
And he says, "It's about time I heard a protest song in this coffee house." It just surprised the heck out of us.
Yeah, there's a saying, book, cover, something like that,
Right, yeah.
Yes, yeah, there is a saying.
But
about that.
I go, oh, geez, we're in trouble now. And and we become relatively close with him now. We'll text each other every so often saying, what do you think of this guy doing what he's doing now? And he says, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, it's an excellent question. But you know what? I think in this climate, we can't be afraid of speaking out. So
Right.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
So I am very glad we do get protest songs in this coffee house, and I want to sincerely thank you for yours.
Well,
thank
thank
you.
was
you.
wonderful.
Thank you very much. Thank
But
you.
as much as I like that, I like the song about your parents even more. It's a great tune.
Thank you, Mike.
And we will see you here again, no doubt.
Yes,
Sooner,
we will.
I hope, rather than later. I'm going to turn
All right.
you over to Chris, and then Chris will need to chat for a moment.
All right. Well, yeah, Tim and Susan, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, so as I mentioned before, we've got a live television situation here, and I'm uncertain exactly what direction we're going to go in right now here. So, Mike, I need a judge's ruling here.
Okay, what are we ruling on here? You need to bring down the spotlight here.
There we go. There's that.
There's mine. So we have Andy Karn is in the house.
Excellent.
I'm gonna do his sound check with him right now. And
Very
so,
good.
audience, you get to see a little bit of the guts
The
of
magic
his
making.
The magic making here. Andy, if you'll unmute, let's get you sound checked. Good to go.
All right.
Chris, you want to introduce Andy?
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got joining us from Mountain View, California, Andy Karn. Andy, go ahead, take it away.
Hi. It usually takes longer than that for a sound check, by the way, in case you don't know. All right, the first song I'd like to do is a song about plankton, actually. It's called Tiny Drifters. We came down here on our honeymoon on a cool November day. A million monarchs perched up in the trees. Now you've all flown 1,000 miles away. Tiny drifters ride ocean currents. Small-time convicts ride the bus. Tiny airplanes fly up in the sky. What's all this drifting done to us? Nowhere near Salinas, I let you slip away. More like SFO on the black tarmac. Now I hear that BART train stuck in my yuppie prison, waiting for you to come on back. Tiny drifters ride ocean currents. Small-time convicts ride the bus. Tiny airplanes fly way up in the sky. What's all this drifting done to us? If I was a tiny drifter on a current, a Pacific blue, I'd ride it way around to the Atlantic, just so I could be with you. Tiny drifters ride ocean currents. Small-time convicts ride the bus. Tiny airplanes fly way up in the sky. What's all this drifting done to us? What's all this drifting done to us?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very nice, Andy.
Okay, here's another one. It's called, this is the song that people argue with the title. It's called Whiskey Don't Cure Nothing. Under the land of the sky blue waters, that barroom paradise, sat a man who'd seen his better days, dispensing free advice. Everything a man could do, old Charlie had done twice, but it dropped one pearl of wisdom my mind held like a vice. He said, I seen a lot of fellers, and I seen a few gals too, sit here drinking whiskey like it's going in their shoe. Maybe someone done 'em rotten, or their glory days are through. or they just can't find nobody to take away their blues. How about whiskey? Don't cure nothing. Mr. Charlie said, and I believe it's true. You just wake up with the same old heartache and the same old hellhound dogging you. Now I come in here a time or two to whiten my mustache, exorcise my demons by drinking sour mash. But I wake up with a headache and a mouth that tastes like trash. But I still got all them demons and I'm missing all my cash. 'Cause whiskey don't cure nothing, Mr. Charlie said, and I believe it's true. Well, you just wake up with the same old heartache and the same old hellhound dogging you. Well, the years have passed, old Charlie's gone, now I sit on this stool, handing out the sage advice, you get free from a fool. But if you think drinking whiskey will make your life less cruel, just drink on up and you'll find out the truth behind this rule. That whiskey don't cure nothing, Mr. Charlie said, and I believe it's true. You just wake up with the same old heartache and the same old hellhound dogging you.
Andy, that was fantastic. Yeah, I'm glad that you were able to join us here. I'm gonna, before I hand you
Me
over
too.
to Mike, I'm gonna go ahead and ask you. One of the things that we always want to have our people do, of course, is talk about the open mics that you play at, either in person or virtually. Which are your favorites that you play at?
Well, right now I'm playing at an open mic at the First Unitarian Church in San Jose. That's once a month, and a bunch of online open mics.
Oh, wonderful. All right. Well, with that, let me hand you over to Mike, and he's going to get into some of the stories.
All right, Andy Karn, how you
Hey,
doing, man?
Hey, sorry about that. It just didn't get on my calendar.
There you go.
A bookkeeping error.
Bookkeeping error. Yeah, Andy was delayed in getting here. Nonetheless, I would like to point out that you did play in your original intended spot. So.
Oh, cool.
So, Capo Dave done good. He done his magic and it went on. There are not a lot of love songs that involve plankton. Can you think of any others?
Well, no, not like I looked though.
Yeah, yeah. So you want to tell your fans a little bit about where it was that you saw that quote and all that.
Oh wow, I have fans. Cool. It all came from oh dear, it all came from something that was written in an exhibit at the Monterey Bay Aquarium, where they were showing you little plankton. Actually, those are the big plankton that you can actually see. They had the following words. They've had this for decades now. They will not get rid of this line.
Yeah.
Tiny drifters ride ocean currents. And when I hear that, it's just like poetry, and my mind just drifts away to these, Pacific waters where all these plankton are drifting around. And I thought, well, that's just a great piece of poetry. I wonder if I could make that into a song. So,
Okay, so Andy and I have known each other for quite a while now. We've been colleagues in the workplace, and we're colleagues in terms of being singer-songwriters, and we go to a lot of open mics. I occasionally play his songs because he's so much better songwriter than I am, and so I steal his stuff. I got to tell you this little story about the last time I played that song for someone. I played that song for someone at an open mic in Los Gatos, California, at a coffee house there. And after I played that song, the next person who got up, gender and other identities notwithstanding, got up and did a tirade about what a great song Andy had written about the failure of Democrats politically. Tiny drifters just riding political currents.
wow.
I knew you'd like to hear that. Yeah. Okay, and the other one. Tell me about writing the other one.
Okay, well, the other one, the other one has a little bit of a story. I read a book called Satan is Real by Charlie Leuven, and Charlie is not the Charlie in the song, who's kind of a barfly. Charlie Leuven was anything but. His brother, though, was an alcoholic, and Charlie, at some point, after describing one of the exploits of his brother, says, and after which he beats up his brother. These are two very well-respected country musicians, okay?
The Leuven brothers.
The Leuven brothers, yeah, the Leuven brothers. He beats up his brother, who, believe me, earned it. You'll have to read the book. And then says, I just don't see why people think whiskey will cure anything. It doesn't cure anything. And I thought, well, there you go. That could be a country song. It's got whiskey in it anyway.
Yeah. And brothers, and
Well, yeah, and those guys can't write their own songs anymore, so somebody's got
Yeah.
to.
Well, Andy Karn, I'm delighted that you made it. Thank you for coming.
It was great.
And
Yeah.
I hope things go well for you. We'll see you back here sometime soon, I'm sure.
Okay, great.
Right, man.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Andy. We're going to go back out east here, and Glenn Marshall is going to be joining us from Monroe, North Carolina. And Glenn hosts Homebrew Open Mic on the third Thursday of every month in Monroe, North Carolina. Glenn, over to you.
Hey, thank you very much. A lot of great performers. Andy, I know all about plankton. I'm a scuba diver. So great job. And the rest of the folks performing, great job. Look forward to the rest of the show. So this one is an instrumental. I'd like to do it for you. It's off my first album. It's called Footprints in the Snow.
Tasty, tasty.
Very
Absolutely
nice.
gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Nice.
Yeah, so I like a lot of weather type songs. So this one, this one's called "In the Rain." This is off my, I think it's my first album as well. I waited so long to be by your side. The warmth, the touch, the fire inside. And if I told you I need you, would you tell me the same? Or lead me around through puzzles and games? Rain, rain, London in the rain. Clouds, clouds, Chicago in the rain. Rain, rain, London in the rain. Clouds, clouds, Chicago in the rain. Only you and I, together as one. From the dark of the night and the glow of the sun. From the highest peaks to the depths of the sea. I kiss your fingers as you wash away mine. Rain, rain, London in the rain. Clouds, clouds, Chicago in the rain. Rain, rain, London in the rain. Clouds, clouds, Chicago in the rain. Cold and wet, I felt sicker. Had a cup of tea and I felt better. I haven't felt this way in oh so long. Once I was weak, and now I feel strong. Your smile in my eyes, it makes me feel warm. Your voice leads me through, you calm my storm. Rain, rain, London in the rain. Clouds, clouds, Chicago in the rain. Rain, rain, London in the rain. Clouds, clouds, Chicago in the rain.
Just amazing. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you for that very much. And I'm going to hand you over to Mike, who's going to get into a little bit more of your process and your stories here.
Hello, Mike.
How you doing, Glenn? Good to see you again, man.
Good, good. You guys okay with all the fires out there?
I'm not in the area that currently has the fires. That was last year for us up here. California has two parts. The bottom part's called Southern California, and the northern part's called California. And it's some people call it Northern California, but it's the real California. But it's Southern California has the fires at the moment. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Uh, I heard a great line about the fires, though. Someone, red-haired guy, was claiming that he was turning on the water to put out the fires in Southern California. Then someone looked at me and said, "Despot bigot, turning on the spigot." You know, anyway, so let's get off that. Let's go to a fairly technical discussion of how you write the guitar parts for what you're doing. The chording that you use is compelling. It has a lot of movement to it. I'm curious, do you work that out generally, arpeggiating it kind of note by note to get the sound and stuff that you want, or do you find them through theory, or how do you get there with that stuff?
Well, kind of a bunch of different ways, really. Are you talking about the first song, maybe? Or
I'm
just
talking about both, but the first song in particular, yeah.
um, I think that was more coming up with parts, getting a feeling of what I want to hear in my head, and then just coming up with parts and doing different things, moving, my little finger around to get an off note or whatever, and hopefully that chord sounds good. So when you guys, when you're songwriting, don't be afraid to try off notes to see if it works. A lot of times it does within passages. So
Oh, thank you. That's good. The second song,
yes, in the rain.
it
Yeah.
brought an image to me. The very first time I was ever in Chicago, I was pretty small, and we got off the airplane. This is back when they wheeled that thing up, and there was a steps that
Yes,
you went down
steps
coming
going
out of the
down.
airplane. And I remember noticing that the rain was coming down so hard on the tarmac that it was bouncing back up almost to the height of my head. That some of that Chicago rain you're talking about.
Yeah.
What brought that song
Well, I was tinkering around on my 12 string, and then, I was kind of coming up with a, and I'm like, well, it kind of sounds like raindrops, and it just kind of came from there, and then just, added the chords, the A minor G thing, and the break and the solo, and put some lyrics to it. I'm in the rain, we're in the rain. So you can write about the weather if you can't think of anything else to write about.
That's just like a discussion, you know.
Exactly.
So what's up with you project wise? Are you recording now?
No, just doing gigs locally, and I run an open mic. Most of the places want cover things, but I try to throw in a couple originals per set. So, and then my band kind of broke up, but I'm getting something together again. I have some shows lined up, and yeah, so just gigging around a couple times a month. So I'll be up in Illinois too, you guys, in April to do a show in Wakanda. So
All right. Well, good. Glenn, always good to have you. I'm sure that we will hear you jumping back in here soonly, and I'm going to send you back over to Chris now.
thank you guys.
No, thank you guys very, very much. We've had a lot of incredible guitar playing here, and on a lot of guitars. Very few of them, I assume, were free. And now, of course, in saying free guitar, it's probably worthwhile to go ahead and take a little bit of a break here to talk about Dandy Guitars. Anyone who's on this show, performers and volunteer hosts alike, gets a ticket in the fishbowl for the annual drawing for one of Capo Dave's Dandy hybrid guitars. So what exactly is a Dandy hybrid guitar? This is an acoustic guitar, unique in design, that projects its distinctive sound at considerably higher volume than flat-top guitars. Whether it's at an open mic, a circle jam, a campfire, or a boxcar on a moving train, which of course we obligatorily have to put in this because we do folk music, a Dandy hybrid delivers. Learn about the Dandies and hear them played on the website dandyguitars.com. The link's going to be placed in the YouTube chat. And I think actually I'm going to hand this over to Capo Dave right now to talk a little bit more about them and show one of them off.
Thanks so much, Chris. Yeah, I have one right here. This is, I guess, number 34. And there are a number of things that make a dandy distinct, give it distinct sound, and a lot of it. But the most important things are that it's a floating bridge guitar, but it's a floating bridge guitar without a tailpiece. Instead, it has what I call as a pin bridge. And as far as I can tell, this has never been done. Anyway, the guitars seem to work very well, particularly for straight line solos, for cross picking, some fingerstyle stuff. And I'm going to put a link in the chat to some demos of people playing them. Our own Mike Simpson has one. He kindly bought one from me, and we have Mike playing some numbers, and Steve Anderson, Bet Paget has a dandy. And if you'd like to take a look and listen to some people playing them, you'll hear what I'm talking about. So the drawing is December the 14th. And, you know, there might be some folks out there that would like to be on Open Mic America, but they're not songwriters. But if you play at a pretty high level, like, you know, more or less like these folks do, you can play what we call a heritage song. And that's any song written before 1925 is fair game. That there are no copyright rules about that. So sign up, and we'd love to hear your music. And I am hearing some terrific music tonight from these players, just some great stuff. So that's all I have right now, and I'll hand it back to, let me get my thing here, to Chris. Thanks, Chris. Okay.
Thank you very much, Dave. And beautiful, beautiful guitars. And actually, if you have heard one played, please look at the demos. It's a remarkable instrument. We're going to go ahead and continue on with our players here. I'm going to hand you up to John Gary in Stowe, Ohio. John hosts a monthly open mic at the Dragonfly Winery in Canal Fulton, where they feature a local artist in the middle of the show and many local players from the wonderful Northeast Ohio music community. John, go ahead and please take it away.
Thank you. It's good to be back. So I have some lighter fare tonight. This is a song called Under the Sun. Once in a while I manage to smile for those I love. La da da dum. And so it seems you're part of the dream I want for life. When I'm alone, it seems I am all by myself. No one's there. When you're here, it seems there is nothing to fear. We are a pair. Day after day, all of the way, I'll be the one. La da da dum. Come and have fun. Under the sun, you are my love. When I'm with you, it seems the sun is shining brighter than before. When you're here, it seems there is nothing to fear. We are a pair. So now that you're mine, all of the time we are in love. When I'm with you, it seems the stars are shining brighter than before. With you here, I know there is nothing to fear. You are a pair.
Yeah.
That was beautiful, beautiful, John.
Nice.
All right, I'm gonna change speeds here. It's a song called Times of My Life. You came into my life and touched me with your warmth during one of the coldest times of my life. You came into my world to shine a light on me during one of the darkest times of my life. I was lost and adrift, no port to call home. You became my anchor, and now I'm not alone. You came into my heart, and now you are my love, giving one of the warmest times of my life. You came into my soul, and now you're part of me. I give to you the happy times of my life, and what you've given to me, I now return to you. A life of happiness, my heart's love that grew.
Absolutely beautiful, John.
That's gorgeous.
Thank you.
It's absolutely gorgeous. Thank you for that. Let me go ahead. I'm going to hand you over to Mike here and get into some of the stories behind the songs here.
Okay. I did something to my view. Let's see. There we go. John Gary, good to see you again.
Hi, Mike.
I heard you say, I don't remember if you were on screen at the time or not, or if it was before we set up and went in, but you're going to go a little lighter than you sometimes do, and you did. And so that it inspired me to ask, where in the development process, let me add in a subnote here. I hear a lot of songwriters. I follow it. I do it myself, that kind of stuff. And some songwriters, their craft is very evident, and your craft is always very evident. Your stuff is very well constructed. Your stuff is well built, that kind of thing. Where in that crafting process does your engagement with the mood that you want to generate with the song, where does that come in?
You know, actually, it's kind of, I think the mood is probably where most of my songs start. So even with, although like that first one, it started with that opening lick, you know, that run. I had been on vacation in North Carolina at that point in time and stopped by and saw some bluegrass pickers. And I thought, I like that run. I'm going to make something out of that and kind of make it a happy song. So that's where that one came from. Right. As far as the other one, it was really about that piece of Times of My Life and doing that juxtaposition of light, dark, cold, warm. And again, just kind of the feeling that came with that, and from that, developing the music around that particular feeling.
Yeah, okay. Very good. That's helpful to anybody who's trying to emulate what you're doing, you know, in terms of setting the mood on. When do you generally find that the lyrics finally gel on the songs?
Well, sometimes not for years.
Right. Yeah. You've talked about this before, and I'm sort of hearkening back to some of our earlier discussions about that.
I'm right now. I'm recording again. Typically, I take my winter months and I record. I don't go out and play a whole lot, and I find even for these songs that I picked these songs out in the beginning of last year, that these are the songs I was going to record. I'm still, as I'm recording them, tweaking and changing the lyrics. Mm-hmm. You know, even
what generally causes a change?
Probably for the most part, it's going back, and I think about when I originally wrote some of these songs, where I was in my life, and it was really probably more personal message for me to make them broader in terms of the lyrics, more reachable to more people, and so taking them to be less personal, to be more of let's capture a feeling that many people might have or might relate to.
Right. What's the window on when the recordings will be done and available?
I'm looking probably second quarter of this year.
Of this year. All right. Well, you're coming up on it. Yeah.
Release of 14 songs. Thinking I've been working on them since July.
And is this going to be a stream it kind of thing, or
you mean
actual physical CD?
I do physical CDs.
All right.
And I'll also post it to the streaming services, and I'll do live shows and that. But I always create CDs.
Yeah. Very good. Well, get on it. Get on it. We're impatient. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time out for making the CDs to come and play for us.
Right.
This is good of you. We'll send you off to Chris, and thanks for coming. See you again soon.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mike, and thanks, John. We'll look for those for those releases as they come up. So every once in a while, when I get to have the privilege of either playing on this or hosting it, I take a look through, and I don't really necessarily get the list of people who are going to play until towards the last minute. This time I saw a couple of names on there that definitely had me, kind of smiling and looking forward to this, including the next one coming up here. A friend of mine, Tom Maynard, who is going to be joining us here from Thompson, Connecticut. And Tom plays at the Parish Center for the Arts, the PCA, in Westford, Massachusetts. Ellen Schmidt's Open Mic in Boxborough, Massachusetts. North Reading Community and Coffee House and the Roslindale Open Mic, and occasionally on the Eagle's Nest Revisited Open Mic on Fridays. So, Tom, I will hand this off to you, sir.
Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate that. Going to take a quick moment to thank everyone who's put this show on here. Capo Dave, and tonight Chris and Mike and Daphne, all the folks who put in their time to put this together. Because as a musician and performer, singer, songwriter, sometimes it's hard to find places to go out and get your music, get it out to the world. And I really found that since the pandemic, these virtual shows have just been an amazing resource and gift. It's a gift to us. What you folks do, we're really blessed to have this, and so thank you. It's just so cool to be here. Speaking of the pandemic, this song came out of the pandemic days, but it also kind of speaks to, unfortunately, sort of where we are too. There's this question about thresholds. So when you're, some major events are happening, and it seems like we're getting a lot of them in the last 20 years. Maybe we just always are getting them, and it just seems that way, that it's even more intense now than it has ever been. But you ask the question, what's on the other side? When we cross this threshold, what will be there? And this song kind of speaks to it's what we create. So and hopefully we'll still have the agency to vision a future that we all can be, we can all be proud of and thrilled to pass on to our progeny on the other side. Through a glass darkly, we strain to see our shadows stretch starkly, obscuring what's to be. It's a vague vision, a future unformed. We can hear thunder, the approach of the storm. And what will we find on the other side? What will we find on the other side? What's real and illusion? How can we know what to hold on to and what to let go? The center cannot hold the weight of these years of short-sighted choices, so blinded by fears. And what will we find on the other side? What will we find on the other side? The infinite points of possible promise, each vying for being, all swirl and spin. What can we imagine? How can we begin to call for a vision for all kith and kin. A path through the darkness, some star to guide our hopes and best angels, a thing not yet tried. What will it be? What will we choose? With love and compassion, we invoke our muse. What will we find on the other side? What will we find on the other side?
Just beautifully done, Tom. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So this one, you'll notice behind me is it's sort of blocked by everything now, but we got the mountains behind and the sun. It's actually a dawn shot of the sun starting to hit the mountains, and there's a pond and all that. This song, part of this song was generated by visions of this one place. This is called Ethan Pond. It's up in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, along the Appalachian Trail, actually. This song is called Leave It Alone. Morning mist breathes from night shadows, dawn's brush paints in pastel hues. A solitary wren's call echoes, wet on wet, pale wash suffused. Mountains swim on mirror's surface, pond and pine scent fill the air. Alpenglow foretells day's promise, what could be even half as fair. With such deep and intense beauty, these tactile textures, sensual sure, exist without the eye to see them, the ear to hear, a spirit pure without the will to let it go, the sense to just leave well alone. There might not be this wild tableau and nature's kingdom overthrown. There is no need to make it better. There's nothing here to buy or sell. A pond needs only light to glitter. A mountain stands its ground as well. So we'll let the mist meander, leave the pond to spark and shine, and leave the mountain in its splendor to sincerely bide right, it's time. The beauty is intrinsic to them, woven in the web of all. And our urge to improve them is more about how our needs call. It's more about how our needs call.
Yeah, very nice.
That was just lovely. And you and I are going to have to share some hiking stories at some point because I know those mountains pretty well too. But I'm going to hand you over to Mike, and maybe he can actually tease some of the information out of you here.
Well, I wouldn't want to tease Tom.
How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing well, sir. Good to see you again. And I'm going to go right to the second song here.
Sure.
I'm curious. I don't think I would accept the label nature lover for me, because my wife would smack me. But it would. It's not that I don't enjoy it and stuff, but I clearly don't have the draw to it that some people like you do. I want to know, in the songwriting, as a songwriter, what does it do for you as a person to have the songs drawn from these visions of nature, you know, in your pocket to perform and to play for yourself when you are just playing for yourself and that kind of thing? What does that do for you?
Well, I mean, I guess what I'd say is that a lot of my joy, and God, do we ever need joy nowadays, it comes from being out there. My current living situation is I've got a walking trails that are right up off of my backyard, and I get to walk around a lake, and it's just, you know, quite a gift, quite a blessing to be here. But the other joy is the music. So when I can bring them together, then if I'm not out in nature, I can access that through the music, and I really, I mean, in a song like the second song, which is, it's as close to preaching as I get in my songs. I try not to tell anybody how to feel, but my own sense of the preciousness of nature and we just can't seem to leave well enough alone when it comes to places of beauty that we want to be improving them and making them into our vision of what we think they should be. And my own take on that is we really need to be leaving these spaces alone, like completely alone. There are places that should just, man just shouldn't go there.
Yeah.
Because nature needs a space to do what it needs to do, you know, and the values that we put on it are ours, you know. I don't know how, I mean, I think the song says it, so I don't know that I need
Yeah,
to
it
preach
does.
anymore.
I just was, like I said, I was looking for you and the song's relationship, you know,
Yeah,
which you've
yeah.
expressed. Are you then saying that we have paved paradise and put up a parking lot? Is that,
You know,
is that
that sounds like a really good line. I should look into that one.
that's a hook, yeah. The first song, talk a little bit about the flow, the writing flow, the tooling flow for writing that.
So that was an interesting one. That was a prompt that came from the internet. Somebody was asking, you know, about saying here's, you know, on the other side, let's write some songs about that. And so I don't have a clear memory of this one, Mike. This one is it's a few years old, and you know, what I know that I knew I had a message in that one too, and I guess that's a little preachy in its own way too. But this sense of here we are in a place where, and especially at the beginning of the pandemic, there was a place that there was a sense of a clean slate. As much as things were potentially falling apart around us, it also left us some room to envision something different than what we'd been in. And I think, where we are today is sort of in the same kind of place where we're starting to see things fall down. And my hope is, again, that we have the agency to be able to apply our own intention on our own vision to what comes out the other side. So can't really speak too much to the actual process of writing that one, because that's a little long, a little while ago.
Fair enough. Yeah, well, prophets like you have as one of their big primary functions acting as a lens to focus light on the most important things that we need to view, and I think you do that for us, and I really appreciate your work. It's very good. And fun to listen to, too. It's a nice when the two come together. I hope to see you again here soon, and I will send you back to Chris.
Thanks very much, Mike.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike, and thanks, Tom, very much. Another name here that I absolutely smiled when I saw this on the list. This is going to be some fun here, but Ric Page is going to be joining us from Haverhill, Massachusetts. And of course, when I asked for Rick for just a couple of places that you play at, well, let me just go down the list here. Live, he plays at the North Reading Community Coffee House, Muddy Waters Mike's Open Mic, Hen House, Jay's Music Medicine, and virtually at the Duncow Acoustic Club UK, Eagle's Nest Revisited, Apocalyptic Open Mic, Desert Southwest Open Mic America, and Music Matters. Rick, would you like to play for us, please?
Sure, I love to play. Let me lose this big picture of me here, though. Change my view. I see myself in the mirror. I don't need to see myself when I'm playing. Okay, this first song is it's striving to be the best you can at the same time while keeping your feet on the ground. It's called Exceptional. I am fragile, I tell myself, looking out from within, I see I am putting on appearances, and in itself, I know where I've been. Here's my ramble, and I'll be brief. Life's a gamble, no disbelief. Times you win and then again, times you lose. It's just not fair. Ruleless travel. It's just not fair. Don't come unraveled and try to be exceptional, unusual, sensational, but vulnerable, merely mortal, flesh and bone, built to battle, original, one of a kind, don't boast, I'm not inclined, we're unfaulted, cannot deny, don't be blinded now. Don't give up, we're bound to slip up. Keep moving on, just be strong and try to be exceptional, unusual, sensational, but vulnerable, merely mortal, flesh and bone, built to battle, original, one of a kind, don't wanna boast, I'm not inclined, we're unfaulted,
Nice.
So this next song was actually a challenge. I belonged to a couple of songwriting groups, and the moderator for this particular group says, I want you to write a love song, but it's got to be in Spanish. I go, okay. So I did, and it was all in Spanish, and when I played it, I would oftentimes get people come, that was a beautiful song, but I don't know what you're saying. So now I changed it, and part of it is English and part of it in Spanish. The name of the song is called ¿Cómo estás? I admire you from afar. I dream of you night and day. Although that we have been apart, I still love you the same way. Deseo abrazarte de nuevo. Besa tus labios, acaricia tu rostro. Ya no me ves como cuando estábamos enamorados, ahora solo en espacio. ¿Cómo estás, soy querido? Me debilito cuando estás acá. Nunca sabrás cómo siento, mi amor por ti es real. Pedí mi oportunidad para la felicidad. No, al último vale, solo me arrepiento. My heart aches and you don't know. Silence my lips and close my eyes. All I really have to know is what once was now goodbye. How are you today, my dear? I get weak when you are near. You'll never know the way I feel. My love for you is real. ¿Cómo estás, hoy querido? Me debilito cuando estás acá. Nunca sabrás cómo siento, mi amor por ti es real. You'll never know the way I feel. My love for you is real. Muchas gracias, mi amigos.
Rick, that is just fantastic.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I have so many questions, but I'm going to let Mike ask them. Mike,
Okay.
over to you.
Okay, give me a moment
Mike.
to read. Give me a moment to read Chris's mind. Okay. So all I can ask you about that second song is "Cuando, cuando, cuando." You know.
Why?
Hey, at one point I was hosting, and there was another person doing the interviewing, and afterwards he made a comment to me about you. He says, he says that Page kid, he never met a chord he didn't like. And I know what he means. It's very interesting to hear you get all the movement that you do with that stuff, and it's enticing to think about trying to steal your licks. It, so what was the the push to have you write something in Spanish? Why was that?
Well, the moderator said, you don't write too many love songs. And I said, yeah, I do. And then I really thought about it. I said, well, maybe not. He says, so challenge is you're going to write a love song, and then to make it like a double dare, he says, and put it in Spanish. And I said, okay.
He was just goofing on you, yeah.
Well, he was, but at the same time, I took it as a real challenge. So I came back the next week and I said, here's a song, and it only has 4 chords, even though it looks like there's more. I just use different voicings. And I said, so here's a simple song, not cowboy chords, but 4 chords, and I'll sing it for you. And he says, wow. He says, I didn't expect you to do that. And I said, well, you gave me a challenge, and so I met it. And he says, okay. Then I started playing it out, and as I mentioned before, I'd get people come out and say, I love the song, but I don't know what you're saying. And I said, okay. So I get a little bit of both.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not surprised that you speak Spanish with your obvious Texas accent. It's, but why do you speak Spanish?
In high school, I took French and then Spanish because they're both Romance languages, so they're very, very similar. And the easy part about Spanish is there's u, a, e, ooh, ah, ah, eh, ooh. So whatever you see is how you pronounce it. So it's much easier to pronounce than a lot of French words that have 10,000 letters, but you only pronounce 2 of them. And there's so much memory. And Spanish was much easier to do it. So I wouldn't say that I'm fluent in Spanish, but dealing with the public for many, many years, you kind of learn a lot of what the locals are speaking. So this part of the world, we had a lot of Spanish people, so I picked up Spanish.
Well, es verdad, tú puedes encontrar las cosas románticas en español, en un caso muy bien. It was
Gracias.
very nicely done. When you are working through what you referred to there a minute ago, when you're doing the inversions and other chord selections that you do that, can you give us a really quick window into how that happens with you?
Well, if you're doing like that particular song only had 3 chords, so I got, that's kind of boring. So I wanted the bass line in it. So if you got your root version, so there's your third, which is the first inversion, so you can go back and forth and create something that's moving. Simple.
There you go. I did it for you. I exposed it. Now you can all play guitar like Ric Page. Ha! Good luck with that. Rick, great to see you again. We'll hear more from you later, I'm sure. And don't stop writing, buddy.
Oh, I know. Oh, this is FAWM, February album writing month. So
that's right.
So there's pressure.
Yeah, that's right. Well, take that time and do that job. Chris Steele, here's Ric Page. Back to you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for those tips, Rick. We've got one more artist that we'd like to share with you here tonight. Rebecca Parks is joining us from Hayward, California, and Rebecca participates in the Bistro Open Mic in Hayward and the Three Flames Open Mic in San Jose. So, Rebecca, over to you.
Pardon me. I was just unmuting myself, and then this message popped up that said, unmute yourself. I thought I'd done it, but anyway, technology. This first song is kind of intense. It's a song about how Germany copes with the darkest part of its history. A busy street in Munich has a sign on the corner. Jewish shops were once attacked and burned. A hint teacher tells the history of the Reich's rise to power, asking for the hardest lessons learned. The ones who still remember have a look on their faces. Sometimes it comes back in fitful dreams. Reminders in the culture and the laws and the papers. Freedom is more fragile than it seems. They warn their neighbors and their children not to take that sordid path. Through 80 years atonement, they're still haunted in the aftermath. The Nuremberg of rallies is a public park with concerts. Dylan sang of peace where Hitler stood. Descendants of the leaders bear the weight of their surnames. Most of them have tried to do some good. When movements in some countries promise jobs and talk of greatness, Germans have a sense of deja vu. The people so enthralled will often find out the hard way not to trust what's too good to be true. They warn their neighbors and their children not to take that sordid path. Through 80 years atonement, they're still haunted in the aftermath. The pen of time writes on and on, but can't erase. No tears of guilt can wash away the dark disgrace. The ghosts of Dachau cry to us unsatisfied. Remembrance cannot bring back all the lives denied. They warn their neighbors and their children not to take that sordid path. Through 80 years atonement, they're still haunted in the aftermath. Let's warn our neighbors and our children not to take that sordid path. Through 80 years atonement, they're still haunted in the aftermath. Haunted in the aftermath.
Beautiful and haunting.
Thank you. Well, I can't leave everybody quite in that dark a state, so I'm going to change it up a little bit. There's a famous quote by Margaret Mead, something along the lines of, "Never think that a small group of committed citizens can't change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." And I was just trying to riff on that idea. In 1826, about a dozen free black men formed an abolition association. Their papers and their lectures won more people to their cause, spreading through the northern states to half the nation. It took nearly 40 years and a tragic civil war. 3 amendments to their laws to bring freedom shore to shore. Then and now some say some things can't be done. Don't believe what you've heard, because a small group of people, a small group of people, a small group of people can change the world. It started with 5 women back in 1848, planning the first women's rights convention. At first they thought the right to vote might be too much to ask. Soon it was essential to their intention. It took 72 years and suffragettes in jail, 1 amendment to our laws for the women to prevail. Then and now some say some things can't be done. Don't believe what you've heard, because a small group of people, a small group of people, a small group of people can change the world. Do not be discouraged when you see things as they are. When committed people work together, they go far. If you see injustice and you want to do some good, find like-minded people living in your neighborhood. Then and now some say some things can't be done. Don't believe what you've heard, because a small group of people, a small group of people, a small group of people can change the world. A small group of people, a small group of people, a small group of people can change the world.
Awesome.
Rebecca, thank you so much. I'm going to pass you over to Mike to get into some of those songs here.
All right, Rebecca Parks. You know, full disclosure, Rebecca and I have known each other for quite some time. Over 20 years, so well more than half her life. You know, it's been a long time. And I must say, she's had her 2 hands around the neck of injustice for a long time as a songwriter. What do you think? What's your expected effect when you write those songs? What are you hoping and expecting will happen?
Well, I'm kind of hoping to get people thinking more deeply about history and about present day. Mark Twain once said that history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes.
Yeah. Which of those 2 songs is older?
I think I wrote them at around the same time. I think Aftermath is a little bit older, but not by much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always interesting to me. You never take the simple direct view of things. You find the things in the fringes, you know, the notion of having to alert your neighbors, having to alert your children as a fundamental descriptor of the bad place where a society is. You know, that's pretty crafty. Pretty crafty, Becca.
Well, I've studied social psychology, and looking back on that period, I often wonder, how did so many people get caught up in such a horrible thing?
Well, the same is going to be asked about us. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you want to particularly bring out about either song?
Well, the second song, there's an artist who sometimes performs in this open mic named Hallie Hammer, and she does a lot of social justice songs as well.
Yes, she does.
And I've often done things that are like dark and intense, kind of like the first song. But a lot of her songs are upbeat. And so I thought, I'm going to try to write an upbeat social justice song. And that's kind of what got me started thinking about the second one. And I started with the Margaret Mead quote because it's very hopeful. It basically says, no matter where you are, you know, if you find other people who have the same goal, it doesn't take all that many of you to start things off.
Yeah, Hallie Hammer. I heard someone once here that I was talking to in a background conversation talk about, oh, here's Hallie Hammer. She'll give us some more chipper little ditties about how we're all doomed. You'll fall into that category yet there, Rebecca Parks. Good to see you again. Good to see you again.
Okay.
And I'm going to hand you over for Chris Steele to talk to.
Well, thank you very much, Mike. And that makes our evening. I really want to thank all of the performers that came out here and joined us this evening. Rebecca Parks, of course, Andy Karn, Buddy Shute, John Gary, Norman Bowen, Ric Page, Tom Maynard, and Tim and Susan from Waddle and Daub. I also really want to thank founder Caper, Dave Williams, who was making sure all the knobs were twiddled appropriately here to tonight, as well as, of course, Mike Simpson for being our interviewer here. Remember to please check out our website, openmicamerica.com, for links to the music of all of the OMA performers and find archives of all shows. And if you like this show, please spread the word. Don't keep it a secret. You can even download and print your own posters from our website and hang them somewhere where folks can see them. You can get a t-shirt through the openmicamerica.com. And please check out your local and virtual open mics. We've listed the ones where our performers play under the local open mics tab on the website. We're always here on the first and third Sundays of every month. So our next show is going to be Sunday, February 16th. Same time, same station. Stay tuned for the next full lineup of performers. And then, of course, please check out your local and virtual open mics. I also really want to thank the audience on YouTube. I've been watching over on the other screen here and just keeping the comments going. It's been actually wonderful to watch here. And with that, I think we're going to wish you a good night. I'm going to ask all of the performers here. Everybody, I think, is on mute. So please go ahead and wave goodbye. And we're going to go ahead and have Capo Dave take us out. But good night, America.
If you meet me at the corner of Russell and Albina, just about a block from Mississippi Avenue, I'll take you to a house where they hang carpets on the wall. And if we go there on a Sunday, there's a song I'll take you through.